Hi, I'm Dave Ross, a member of the Los Angeles Athletic Club, privileged to sit on the Board of Governors and have the great fun of leading the Thursday Night Jazz Salon every Thursday night when the club's open. And so tonight's stream, again, it's Thursday night, but since we're not playing live because the club is closed, we'll be viewing a best of the Thursday Night Jazz Salon series. And tonight's concert features one of my favorite singers. It's really hard for me to overstate her abilities as a singer and entertainer and her pedigree. She's sung with so many famous artists. She has a full introduction in the video. Her name is Barbra Morrison. And before we stopped playing live, Barbra was singing every first and third Thursday of the month. She's anxious to get back to performing, so I'm sure once the Thursday Night Jazz Salon is live again, you'll be able to hear Barbra Morrison live. But for now, she's on tape, and this is week 10 of the best of the Thursday Night Jazz Salon streams. Thank you, as a member of the Athletic Club, for staying involved, for taking advantage of the few virtual benefits that the club is able to offer. We meet, talk, think hard about how we can continue to provide benefit to our members through this difficult time. And we will, with every decision, err on the side of safety. So all that said, I look so forward to seeing you in person soon at the Thursday Night Jazz Salon, and I hope you enjoy tonight's stream. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Hey, Dan. It's lovely. We've got a full house tonight, and it's been a remarkable week. I mean, you've probably tried to push it out of your mind, but earlier this week, there was a lot going on in this country, and I think more than any election that I can remember in my 70 years, I think everybody felt that they had more at stake in what was going on this week than we've had in a long, long time. And it ain't over, but some things have been settled, and so to come here to the LA Athletic Club and this beautiful room and a building that was built in 1912 and a club that started and has been running continuously since 1880, it gives you a little sense of like an oasis, a little bit of protection from all the things that are going on outside. And there's no better way, I think, to enjoy that than with live music. We're partial to jazz, but live music, any way you can get it, is just a tonic, I think. I'm Dave Ross, and what allows me to be up on the bandstand is that I'm a member of the Los Angeles Athletic Club, and so I get to be the band leader and bring everybody together. And it's a privilege that's really hard for me to overstate. Up until about 10 years ago, I was sitting in your seat. I had played guitar when I was in high school, and I was approaching my 60th birthday, and my dad had died when I was young, and the last conversation I had with him, he was so resentful that he wasn't going to retire. He was going to he'd worked his fanny off and expected there'd be a reward at the end, and that was going to be stolen from him. And so he died at 47, so I was already almost 60, and so kind of on borrowed time a bit. And I couldn't retire and follow my dad's kind of instructions, but I wondered if there was some activity that I could start doing so that when I'm on my deathbed and I'm kind of taking an account of my life, that any time spent on that activity, I wouldn't regret a moment of. And while, there's so many wonderful things to do in life, for me, I didn't really have to think more than about 5 seconds, and I thought I could become a jazz musician. And I think my whole life, ever since I was a little kid, my dad played piano, I just thought jazz musicians were the coolest thing you could possibly be. When I mentioned I played guitar when I was in high school, and I still had my guitar, and I thought maybe that's what I'll play. But then I thought, if I play guitar, when you're on the bandstand, the guitar, it's like the piano or the horns. You're there to display your virtuosity. And I thought, having not played for 50 years, I'd be kind of behind the 8 ball in that regard. So I picked the bass because the bass in jazz has this functional role. There are 2 jobs that the bass has to deliver on, and one is the time. So most people assume that the drummer keeps the tempo of the music in jazz, but actually the primary responsibility for the tempo is with the bass. And then you all know about improvisation. Somebody's, just like we were doing in that last song, but you may not be aware that the chords that the piano player is playing, are also improvised. So if you looked at the sheet music and it called for certain chords, you're going to find that the piano player in jazz is playing either variations of those chords or substituting completely different chords with completely different harmonies. And so the bass has a secondary job of hearing what those chords are, and the jargon is that I need to spell the chord out so the other musicians know what the harmony of the song is at any given moment. I fail about 90% of the time on getting that correct, but all the guys in the band cover for me, so I get away with it. And so I got a bass, and I enrolled in the beginning jazz program at Long Beach City College in the summer, and then just started trying to play. So I tell you that story just because it underscores how privileged I feel to be up on the bandstand with great players. We have a sax player who's normally with us. He's out of town playing this week. And we've got one of the world's greatest trumpet players who is also a runner. He is one of the greatest professional runners in the history of the sport. He currently holds 8 world records and has been featured as the Athlete of the Year for Track and Field magazine, which covers all of the different events for track and field, picks one athlete, one male and one female, and he's not only won that award, he's won it more times than any other living person. And the reason he's not here to bow when he hears all this praise is he also coaches a track team, a high school track team, and tonight was their first track meet. And so he texted me earlier and said he basically wasn't going to shower. He was just going to put his clothes on over his track stuff, and he thought he could get here faster if he ran rather than drove. So he's running from Pasadena, and I expect him any minute, but he's not here quite yet. So I'm going to take the leap of faith, just like Tinkerbell suggested, and just trust that by the time I finish the introductions, our trumpet player will be here. Hey, that was good. That was Tinkerbell's thing. Let's see, I want to make sure, we normally start with a video, and I have a whole script that I read, so I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not forgetting any administrative responsibilities. I will say that we're streaming, as we do every week. Sue Merlino is sitting right here by the column. She has 2 cameras. Yeah, Sue, give her a little round of applause. She works here all night in the shadow of that column trying to get the live stream to work. She has 2 cameras. One is a fixed shot, a master shot of the band. The other is remote controlled, and she has a little hand thing that she moves it around. So she has 2 cameras. And then tonight, this fellow with a very distinguished cap on his head is our volunteer 3rd cameraman. For the first time in the history of the Jazz Salon, we have 3 cameras. 3 cameras, yeah. So he'll be showing all of us how to take exciting close-ups. But for those of you who are watching on the stream, are our Oklahoma friends watching tonight? Yeah. And just so I can say hi, yeah, Bill back in Oklahoma, if you're watching, thanks so much. Dan's sitting right here. And if you're not watching, shame on you. We stream on YouTube. It's easy to find us at thejazzsalon.com. And then parking. Let me take a second to talk about parking, because it can bite you if you don't understand how it works. The club validates 3 hours of parking. And on your parking ticket, it'll give the time that you entered on. If by the time you're done tonight and you get down to the parking garage, if it's 1 minute after beyond 3 hours, they have the right to charge you the full $45 parking charge. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just start the clock at that point. Why it's so unpredictable, I have no idea. But before you leave tonight, if there's any risk that you're going to go over 3 hours, just ask your server, and there's a $10 validation available that's unlimited time, so you can just relax. Let's see. Should we do, what is that tune? Oh, let's do that tune. Yeah, we'll do one more tune because I really want our trumpet player to get here. And then we'll bring up our wonderful singer for tonight. Okay, so you might wonder what just happened. An apparition, it's the ghost of elections past, has come. Did you run from... Nolan, did you run from Pasadena? Okay. So let me introduce the band. Our pianist, who didn't have to run track today, so he lucked out. He was born here in Los Angeles. He's played all over the world with some of the greatest jazz players, including Freddie Hubbard, the offspring of Old Mother Hubbard and L. Ron Hubbard. It was a very brief moment in time. He played with Django Reinhardt's violinist Stefan Grappelli in Paris. He's played with Larry Carlton, Hubert Laws. He's played with the great Etta James. Please give a warm welcome on piano, the great Mark Massey. Now, was it worth waiting for the trumpet player, you might ask yourself? Well, I told you about his athletic prowess. Let me tell you a little bit about his musical background. He grew up here in Pasadena, and in his 20s, he was playing in the Duke Ellington Orchestra, probably the most elegant orchestra in the history of jazz. When he was 28, he tried out for the swingingest band in jazz, Count Basie's band. Count Basie still led the band, and our trumpet player won first chair trumpet, played for 3 years with the great Count Basie. Yeah. He would have stayed with Count for a long time. Everybody loved Count Basie. He was kind of like a father almost to a lot of the younger guys in the band. But our trumpet player got a call from a pop star, and you know what that means, filthy lucre. And this guy was at the top of his game, had a lot of money, and his name was Marvin Gaye. And he asked our trumpet player to leave the Basie band, go on tour. He did, and then he became Marvin Gaye's musical director. He went on to play with Stevie Wonder, tour with Natalie Cole, Diana Ross, Phil Collins. I turned on the Grammys about 5 years ago. It was the 50th anniversary, and when the TV came on, it was a close-up of him playing with the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. He's one of the greatest musicians and really one of the most beloved individuals you'll ever meet. Please give a warm, warm welcome to the great Nolan Shahid. Now you might ask yourself, why is he dressed in such a distinctive fashion? Yeah. His therapist suggested this because of he's quite insecure, and the therapist suggested, he always wore tan and white, just like a uniform. And his therapist said, maybe if you dressed a little more colorfully, it might help. And so I think he's doing pretty good, don't you? Yeah, that's Nolan Shahid. Now, two of us in the band are like little kids at an ice cream store. We've got a drummer who, by day, is a television producer and director, writer. He's been involved with shows like Coach, Mad About You. It's one of Nolan's favorite shows. His favorite show. And he came in with his girlfriend Felicia a few months ago just to hear the band, and then emailed us, and we didn't have a drummer. And he offered his services at a price we could afford. And he, like I, just have to pinch ourselves that we're able to play with these folks. So would you please give a warm welcome to our drummer, Mr. Judd Pillett. We've got a couple visiting tonight. Rob and Cheryl have friends here from Minnesota. They probably, they're from a suburb of Chicago, but the whole thing started in Minnesota. You can blame Minnesota for it. And it was so fun to tell them, we got a good band, but I'm so thrilled that you're going to hear our singer tonight because she's one of the greatest jazz and blues singers alive in this country. And I can say that without any need to qualify it. But let me give you a little bit of data to back that up. She's got over 20 albums. She's had 4 Grammy nominations, and she's currently nominated for a 2020 Grammy for her recording of Body and Soul. In 2019, she was awarded Jazz Artist of the Year by the Hollywood Music and Media Awards. But this is my favorite one. In 2010, she was voted by NPR listeners as one of the 50 greatest jazz vocalists of all time. Yeah. 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 Just make sure you have clapping left over, because when she walks up here, we really want a lot of that stuff. In 2008, she opened a performing arts center in Leimert Park and has also founded the California Jazz and Blues Museum, and she supports both of those enterprises full-time. She has performed with the Clayton Hamilton Orchestra. She performed with Count Basie, Doc Severinsen, Tony Bennett. She toured the world with Ray Charles, played with Dizzy Gillespie, Etta James, Dr. John, Chaka Khan, Kev Moe, Lou Rawls, Dionne Warwick, Joe Williams, Gerald Wilson, Nancy Wilson, Stevie Wonder. She's the greatest, folks. Please give a warm welcome to Queen Bee, Barbra Morrison.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming. I'd like to send this set out to the Morrows. 49 years. Yeah. Hey! I love the East, I love the West. North and South, they're both the best. But I'll only go there as a guest, 'cause I love being here with you. I love the sea, I love the shore. I love the rocks and what is more. With you there, there would never be a bore, 'cause I love being here with you. I tell you, singing in the shower, laughing by the hour. Life is such a crazy game. I love all kinds of weather, as long as we're together. I love to hear you say my name. I like good wine and fine cuisine. Candlelight, I love to see. Hey, Nola! Don't get me wrong, you know what I mean. I love being here with you. A little dance with Fred Astaire. Brando's eyes, you Brenda's hair. I think to tell you that it's only fair. I love being here with you. Cary Grant, ooh, do that day. Instead of charm, just they take me away. You ought to hear me when I say that I love being here with you. I tell you, David Van is swinging, I love Sarah singing. She's something else, you know. She know how to say it, they know how to play it. They wind it up and let it go. I love the thrill of a New York show. I stand in a long, long line to kiss Count Basie's nose. I want to say before I close that I love being here with you. Yeah! Put your hands together, come on. Right here. That's right, everybody. Let's have some fun. Shahid, the king of swing. Bass is band swing, and I love Ella singing. She's something else, you know. She know how to say it, they know how to play it. They wind it up and let it go. I love the thrill of a New York show. I'd stand in a long line to kiss Count Basie nose. I want to say before I close, I love being here with you. I love it, 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 I love it. You know I love it. I love being here with you. Yes, I do. I love being here with you. That's Nola Shahid, Mark Massey, and Judd over there on the drums. And our fearless leader, David Ross. He's so low-key, you know. He's low-key.
So just so you know, the way the Jazz Salon works is each week a group of players come and a singer comes, and without any rehearsal at all, we go ahead and make music. And so I'm just looking through. Barbara just called a tune.
I like this song because it has Morrow in it. I want Mr. and Mrs. Morrow to know that I was married for 30 days once. I was. It's true. Well, what happened was, my last name is Morrison, and he thought he married Barbra Morrison, the famous singer. Today, I might not have a thing at all. Except for just a dream or two. But I've got plans for tomorrow, and all my tomorrows belong to you. Right now it might not seem like spring at all. We're drifting and the laughs are few. But I've got rainbows planned for tomorrow, and all my tomorrows belong to you. No one knows better than I that luck keeps passing me by. That's fate. But with you standing by my side, I'll soon be turning the tide. Won't you just wait? As long as I got arms that cling at all, it's you that I'll be clinging to. And all my dreams I'll beg, steal or borrow on some bright tomorrow. They'll all come true. And all my tomorrows belong to you. Mr. Noah Shaheen. No one knows better than I that luck keeps passing me by. That's fate. But with you standing by my side, I'll soon be turning the tide. Won't you just wait? As long that I got arms that cling at all, it's you that I'll be clinging to. And all my dreams I'll beg, still or borrow on some bright tomorrow. They'll all come true. And all my tomorrows belong to you. Yeah, Mark Massey on piano. Chad on drums. David Ross, our fearless leader, on bass. And Nolan Shahid on the trumpet. Aren't they wonderful?
We've got an anniversary in the house tonight. And over at this table, 49 years together, Glynis and Dion Moros. Raise your hand so folks know. So this is dedicated to them.
Yay, the Moros! It's very clear our love is here to stay. Not for a year, but ever and a day. The radio and the telephone, the crazy music that we know, just might be passing fancy, and in time may go. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. Thanks, Mark. In time the Rockies may tumble, Gibraltar may fumble. They're only made of clay, but our love is here to stay. Mark Massey, give it up! Give it up! to know in Shahid he did it again. It's very clear our love is here to stay. Not for a year, forever and a day. The radio and the telephone, the fax machine and the internet just might be passing fancy, and in time they go. But oh my dear, our love is here to stay. Together we're going a long, long way. In time the Rockies may crumble, Gibraltar may tumble. They're only made of clay, but our love is here too. Our love is here too. Our love is here to stay. The Morrows! Yay! Happy anniversary! 49 years! Yeah! 49 years. Can you imagine? I went down to San Diego last week. This couple, they were married for 60 years. They were 90 years old. And a genie showed up. Poof! And she asked a lady, she said, what would you like for your 60th wedding anniversary? She said, you know, I always wanted to go on a trip around the world. Poof! The genie said. She gave her tickets, United Airlines, first class, to every city in the world. Then she asked her husband, what would you like for your 60th wedding anniversary? And he said, you know, I always wanted my wife to be 30 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. They was 90 years old. Poof, the genie said. And she made him 120. Just kidding, Morrows. From the Wizard of Oz, we love to do this for you. Harold Darling. Here we go. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, oh witch, the wicked witch. Ding dong, that wicked witch is dead. Wake up, you sleepyhead. Rub your eyes, get out of bed. Wake up, that wicked witch is dead. She's gone where the goblins go. Below, below, below your hole. Let's open up and sing and ring the bells out. Ding dong, the merry-o. Sing it high, sing it low. Let them know that wicked witch, that wicked, wicked, wicked witch. Let them know that wicked witch is dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch, oh witch, that wicked witch. Ding dong, that wicked witch is dead. Wake up! Sleepyhead, rub your eyes, get out of bed. Wake up! The wicked witch is dead. She's gone where the goblins go. Below, below, below your hole. Let's open up and sing and ring the bells out. Ding dong, the merry-o. Sing it high, sing it low. Let them know that wicked witch, that wicked, wicked, wicked witch. Let them know that wicked witch is dead. She's gone, she's out of here. That wicked, 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 wicked witch is dead. She's gone. Follow the yellow brick road. It reminds me of my first mother-in-law. I'd like to send this next one out to all my ex-husbands. Eh?
All of them?
Oh,
You're not leaving any of them out?
no.
That's fair trade. That's
They all died mysteriously. My first husband died from mushroom poisoning.
mushroom poisoning.
My second husband died from mushroom poisoning.
Mushroom poisoning.
My third husband died from a fractured skull.
Oh my.
I couldn't get him to eat the mushroom. It was all blood everywhere.
How about crazy? Crazy, he calls me. I think that's something that your ex-husbands all agreed upon.
That's cold. That's awful chilly. What do you think about that, Miss Morrow? That's awful chilly, don't you think? From the Billie Holiday songbook, I send this out to David Ross. I say I'll move the mountains, and I'll move the mountains if he wants them out of the way. Crazy, he calls me. Sure, I'm crazy. Crazy in love, I say. I say I'll go through fire, and I'll go through fire. As he wants it, so shall it be. Crazy, he calls me. Sure, I'm crazy. Crazy in love, you see. Like the wind that shakes the bough, he moves me with his smile. The difficult I'll do right now. The impossible will take a little while. I say I'll care forever, and I mean forever. If I have to hold up the sky, crazy calls me. Sure, I'm crazy. Crazy in love am I. Mark Massey. Like the wind that shakes the bough, he moves me with his smile. The difficult I'll do right now. The impossible will take a little while. I say I'll care forever, and I mean forever. If I have to hold up the sky, crazy calls me. Sure, I'm crazy, crazy in love. Am I? Did Billie Holiday just show up? That was fun. Can I do some? Yeah. 1, 2. You know what to do. Yeah, Mark. I'm gonna stick with Billie Holiday one more time. I fell in love with you the first time I listened to them there eyes. You've got a certain little cute way of flirting with them there eyes. They make me feel happy. They make me feel so blue. No stalling, I'm falling in a big way for wow you. My heart stomping, you sure started something with them their eyes. You'd better watch them if you're wise. Brown eyes, they sparkle, they bubble. Gonna get you in a whole lot of trouble. You're overworking, there's danger lurking. Them there. What you looking at? You looking at me? With them there eyes. Who you looking at? Who you looking at? I fell in love with you the first time I looked into them there eyes. You got a cute little sweet way of flirting with them there eyes. They make me feel so happy. Lord, they make me feel blue. No stalling, I'm falling in a big way for wow you. My heart is stomping, you sure started something with them their eyes. You'd better watch them if you're wise. Brown eyes, they sparkle, they bubble. Gonna get you in a whole lot of trouble. You're overworking them, there's danger lurking in. You're overworking them, there's danger lurking in them. Stop-a-doo-bop-a-doo-bop-bop. Oh yeah. That was Louis Armstrong. Louis came in there in the end, Dan. You recognize Louis.
I recognize. Sound like Louis Martin. Yeah, you know what I mean.
When Louis got to Chicago, the MC said, Louis, how is it that you just go around the country playing with everybody and just breaking it up? You don't even have a rehearsal, nothing. And Louis Armstrong said,
Well, what I do is, when I get on the bandstand, I put the band that I want to play with in my head. And that's what makes me excel.
and the interviewer said, Louis, who's in your band? And he said,
Get your own damn band.
don't
Is that true?
That's a true story.
So you're nominated for a Grammy currently for the song Body and Soul. Would you be willing to sing that for us here tonight?
I'm not gonna do it, David. David, a guy named David Longaria, wrote this arrangement. My heart is sad and lonely. For you I sigh, for you, dear, only. Why haven't you seen it? I'm all for you, body and soul. I spend my days longing and wonder why it's me you're wronging. I'd gladly surrender myself to you, body and soul. I can't believe it. It's hard to conceive it that you turn away romance. Are you pretending? It looks like the ending. If you give me one more chance to prove, dear, my life a wreck you're making. You know I'm yours just for the taking. I'd gladly surrender myself to you, body and soul. David Ross on the bass, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe it. It's hard to conceive it that you turn away romance. Are you pretending? It looks like the ending. If you give me one more chance to prove, dear, my life a wreck you're making. You know I'm yours just for the taking. I'd gladly surrender myself to you, body and soul, body and soul. Yay, David. What a nice song. I'm glad Sarah's not here. Take me to the Delta, David. I'm in C. Shuffle me. A 1, a 2, and you know what to do. I'm gonna send this out to Dan Folliard, 'cause he likes the blues sometimes. In Oklahoma. Now, Robert Johnson lived in Mississippi, so that's where we're gonna go right now. When I say moan, y'all say moan, okay? Because they in Mississippi, they don't say come on, they say moan. Come on. That's where we got to get in the group. All right. Give me that step, Nolan. All right. All the way down to Mississippi. Here we go. Just let me hear you say moan. Baby, don't you want to go? I said moan. Baby, don't you want to go? Take me back to my hometown, sweet home Chicago. Just let me hear you say moan. Baby, don't you want to go? I said moan. Baby, don't you want to go? Take me back to my hometown, sweet home Chicago. Hey, Judd, on the 1, baby. 1 and 1 is 2. 2 and 2 is 4. Oh, baby, don't you want to go? Mom, baby, don't you want to go? Take me back to my hometown, sweet home Chicago. On the 1, baby, listen. I got the nickel, you bring the dime. We go to South Shore and drink a little wine. Mom, baby, don't you want to go? Take me back to my hometown, sweet home Chicago. Play the blues for me, y'all. Play the blues. Y'all put your hands together and act like you know what the blues is. Pretend like you know. There you go. The man I love, I took from my best friend. The girl got slick and took him back again. Come on in my kitchen. The man I love, I took from my best friend. The girl got slick and took him back again. You ought to come on in my kitchen, 'cause it's going to be raining outdoors. My baby wasn't a jockey, but he sure taught me how to ride. My baby wasn't a jockey, but he sure taught me how to ride. We gon' get it once in the middle and once from side to side. Just let me hear you say more. Baby, don't you want to go? I said more. Baby, don't you want to go? Take me back to my hometown, sweet home Chicago. Let me hear you say more. That was fun. That was fun. Put me in G, fellas. I'm slow blues this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, back in the day. You remember when they used to get on those train tracks and jump on the trains, and they used to go from town to town and city. That's when they didn't have any money, you know. And that was the real blues. Nolan, you eat greens, you don't eat blues. Squash, yellows. Oh, carrots. Just imagine hearing that old B&O and the whistle blowing as it comes down the railroad tracks. So many roads, so many trains to ride, so many roads, so many trains to ride. Well, I got to find my baby so I can be satisfied. Now I was standing at my window when I heard that whistle blow. Yes, I was standing at my window when I heard that whistle blow. Lord, I thought it was a streamline. I recognized it was that old B&O. Play the blues for me, son. Play the blues. Barbra Massey. Barbra Massey. It was a mean old fireman and a cruel old engineer. It was a mean old fireman and a cruel old engineer. Lord, they've taken my baby and left me here at the LA Men's Club singing the blues on a Thursday night right here. Oh yeah, oh yeah, singing the blues. Got me singing the blues.
Barbra Morrison. Wow, man. Oh, what a privilege and a pleasure it is to be here with Barbra in the room. Mr. Nolan Shahid. Go ahead, yeah. You're beautiful. Nolan Shahid as Dracula. Mark Massey on the piano. Mr. Judd Pillett on the drums. I'm Dave Ross. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to give the instructions. This is the tip jar. Important because misnamed as the tip jar, it should be called the bread and butter, the salary. This is not the icing on the cake. This is the cake itself. This is how we get paid. So if you're enjoying yourselves, you love the service, the food is great, validated parking, that's $45 profit right there you've made. We just would love during the break if you'd come on up, put something in the tip jar. Barbara, do you have CDs with you tonight? Okay.
Yes, David, I do, and I'd like to let everyone know that they're free, so please come up and get one. Yes, they're free.
Yeah, they're free tonight.
They're free tonight.
Tonight only.
But if you put your hands on them, there's a $15 handling charge.
Oh, I see, okay. Well, that's insignificant, really. And an autograph thrown in for free? Okay, so whether you want to buy a CD or not, Barbara's going to be over here at the table. She'd love to meet you. Come on up and say hi, get a hug. There'll be CDs for you if you want them. Now we've got an old friend of Barbara's coming up, a young fellow from Oklahoma who has written the music for some of your favorite television shows. He's the composer on Seventh Heaven, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Bosom Buddies, Joni Loves Chachi, Home Improvement, Roseanne, Beverly Hills 90210, and 9 to 5. Mr. Dan Foleyart's in the house. How lucky are we? So don't go anywhere. We got lots of surprises left. Give us about 15 minutes and we'll be right back.
I know them.
Well, we started out with a song whose title is, boy, never been more poignant and kind of potent than it is now, and that's America the Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. America the Beautiful, and then Blackbird, and then we went back to the beginning of jazz with St. James Infirmary. And talking about going back in time, there used to be a period when there would be poetry with jazz. Back in the 1950s with the Beat Poets, and they'd be doing their poetry, and all the women, all the girls would have straight hair. They'd iron their hair. They'd wear black turtlenecks. They wear black turtleneck sweaters, and they'd have heavy black frame glasses, and they'd all look, kind of depressed, because it turned out that life was actually ironic. It wasn't what you thought it was. And so they'd recite poetry to cool jazz. And I have a dear friend. Oh, this is a woman from the Illuminated Engineer Society. They just gave out the Oscars for lighting, commercial lighting. They're over at this table over here. So if you want to bribe one of them to win next year, now's your chance. They're all on the take, so no problem. This is a friend of mine since we met when we were 12 years old, which would be a long time ago. And he writes and reads poetry, and I'm thrilled to have him here. Please give a warm welcome, Mr. Kerry Peck.
First is from a Polish poet called Czesław Miłosz, and he wrote it after he fled Europe. This is in the late 30s. You who I could not save, listen to me. Try to understand this simple speech, as I'd be ashamed to say another. I swear there is no wizardry of words. I speak to you with silence, like a cloud or a tree. What strengthened me was fatal to you. You mixed up farewell to an old epic with the beginning of another. Inspiration of the oligarchs with lyrical beauty. Blind force with accomplished shape. Here is a valley of shallow Polish rivers and an immense bridge leading into white fog. Here is a broken city, and the wind throws the screams of gulls onto your grave as I speak to you. What is poetry that does not serve people or a nation? It's a connivance with official lives, a song of drunkards whose throats will be slit in a moment, a reading of sophomores. That I wanted good poetry without knowing it, that I discovered late its salutary aims, in this and only this I take solace. They used to pour millet on graves to feed the dead who would come back as birds. I lay this book upon your grave, you that died, that you may never visit us again. California told me not to grasp, to make room for a path with infinite forks. Instead of imagining one bound form, this long state transforms wildly as waves bring layers of salt that garland miles and miles of marsh. Bulking green mountains huddle in the background and stockpile snow to feed the many rivers. Inland, cacti cover the drive basin, while the sun dries the white sand. I live in the shadow of redwoods, respond to the elk that roam the coast, eat the berries and the nettles' new growth until the junipers call me south. I follow a feeling, a flag in the distance, where all boundaries are allowed to blend, where each mood belongs, and home is in any direction. When I was a poet, I had no doubt. I knew the ins and outs of everything lettered. Each word syllable stuck to a letter, made a word, made a world. When I was a poet, the world was a splattering of words cast across blank space. When I was a poet, I knew everything I didn't. Thought I knew the game. Whereas the game knew me and played me like a Macarena. When I was a poet, I was an acrobat. perched high in my slippers on a wire above the Grand Canyon. Oh, inferno vertigo. And I did prance the death-defying dance. Whereas now death informs each waking moment. When I was a poet, everybody I knew were poets too, and we made it places, yes, where poets and others would gather, yes, and ask questions, always. Absolutes, certainly. Absolutes, absolutely, but otherwise nada. Zilt, great blank white page, great blank stare into the core of it all. When I was a poet, passion was a wire that stuck into the spine of lovers, charging our volts with jolts of jazz and sweet juices flowing like the Red Sea. Dig it, Creeley said. When I was a poet, I was a thief, a jackdaw in all traits, straight for the shiny things, singing, warbling, all the jazz, stretching the tape on wonderful waltzes, fast, fancy-footed roller skater in roller rinks and poetry halls. When I was a poet, everything was poetry, from hummingbirds' wings to maggots hatching. And it all counted, and nothing counted, and everything was connected to Heart Central.
Carrie Peck, everybody. That's the power of poetry. It's wonderful to have it at the Jazz Salon. Well, let's not waste another second. We've got a great band up here. We've got a legendary singer in the audience tonight. Would you please welcome back up to the bandstand the one and only, the original Queen Bee, Barbra Morrison.
Thank you all for your generous donations. You're so sweet and kind. And how about the Morrows on their 49th wedding anniversary, spending it with us? How about that? The Morrows.
This is a great anthem. You'll recognize it right away.
At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Oh yeah, yeah. At last, skies above are blue. My heart is wrapped in clover. Now that I found you, oh, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I could call my own. I found two lips to press my cheek to. A thrill that I've never known. You smile, and then the spell was cast. Now here we are in heaven, and you are mine at last. Okay, couples, you can dance, but no dipping. Happy birthday, Vicky! That's Mark Massey tickling those keys. Won't you give me some loving on keyboards? Piano, Mr. Mark Massey. Oh, I found a dream that I could speak to. A dream that I could call my own. I found two lips to press my cheek to. A thrill that I've never known. You smile, then the spell was cast. Now here we are in heaven, and you are mine at last. You better believe it. You better believe it. Mine at last. E flat, a 1, a 2, and you know what to do. I know why I've waited, know why I've been blue. Prayed each night for someone exactly like you. Why should we spend money on a show or two? No one does those love scenes exactly like you, exactly like you. You make me feel so grand. I wanna hand the world to you. You seem to understand each foolish little scheme I'm scheming, dream I'm dreaming. Now I know why my mother taught me to be true. She meant me for someone exactly like you. Shabba-wee-ba-woo-ba-wee. Ba-wee-ba-wee. Shabba-wee-ba-wee. Da-doo-ba-wee-bo-da-ba-da. No, let's see, he did it again. I know why I'm waiting. I know why I've been blue. Prayed each night for someone. Somebody look a little bit like you, baby, you sure is fine. Why should I spend my hard-earned money on a show or two? Can't nobody suck it to me exactly like you, exactly like you. You make me feel so grand. I wanna hand the world to you. You seem to understand each foolish little scheme I'm scheming, dream I'm dreaming. Now I know why my mother taught me to be true. She meant me for someone exactly like you. Just like Mama save your stuff. Don't you ever give it up. No, no. Save yourself for someone exactly like you. Exactly like you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, what you talking about, man? What you mean, Phil? Louis came in on that too. What you talking about, Louis?
How about I'm looking at all these wonderful songs in a sentimental mood. Is that good? Okay. So here's a great Duke Ellington tune. If you never heard anything from Duke Ellington but this one song, you'd have what you need. This is called In a Sentimental Mood.
In a sentimental mood, I can see the stars come to my room, while your loving attitude ignites the flame that lights the gloom on the wings of every kiss. Drifts a melody so strange and sweet in this sentimental bliss. You make my paradise complete. Rose petals seem to fall. It's all in a dream to call you mine. My heart's a lighter thing since you made this night a thing divine. In a sentimental mood, I'm within a world so heavenly, for I never dreamt that you'd be loving sentimental me. did it again. Nolan Shaheed, ladies and gentlemen. Rose petals seem to fall. It's all in a dream to call you mine. My heart's a lighter thing since you made this night a thing divine. In a sentimental mood, I'm within a world so heavenly, for I never dreamt that you be loving sentimental me. Nolan Shaheed, Mark Massey, David Ross, and Joe on the drums. Catch me, catch me. Catch me hard. Lately I find myself out gazing at stars, hearing guitars like someone in love. Sometimes the things I do astound me, mostly whenever you're around me. Lately I seem to walk as though I had wings, bump into things just like someone in love. Each time I look at you, I'm left as a glove, and it's just like someone in love. Lately I find myself out gazing at stars, hearing guitars just like someone in love. Sometimes the things I do astound me, mostly whenever you're around me. Lately I seem to walk as though I had wings, bump into things just like someone in love. Each time I look at you, I'm left as a glove, and it's just like, oh, I tell you, I feel like I get that old familiar feeling of someone in love. Let's give just some loving on those drums. Who's that drummer? Who's Who's that drummer? Get a drummer song. Come on, you guys. That was fun.
How about that? What's that kind of contemporary tune that we sometimes do? Don't Know Why by Nora Jones. Let's give this a try.
I'm gonna send this out to tomorrow's kids. I waited for the sun to come. Don't know why. Happy birthday, Vicky. I left you at the house of fun. Don't know why I didn't come. Don't know why I didn't come. When I saw the break of day, wish that I could fly away instead of kneeling in the sand, catching teardrops in my hand. My heart is drenched in wine, and you'll be on my mind forever, forever. Out across the rolling sea, I would die in sympathy, ecstasy, sorry. But I'd be a bag of bones driving down this road alone. Ooh, I don't know why. My heart is drenched in wine, and you'll be on my mind forever, forever. Something's gotta make you run. Don't know why I didn't come. I feel as empty as a drum. Oh no, don't know why I didn't come. I don't know why. Oh no, I didn't come. I don't know why. Oh, don't I tell you? Let me tell you. I can't think of a reason. I don't know why. Oh, I didn't come. Oh no, don't know why I didn't come. I don't know why. That was fun.
So we're getting ready for our last tune, Barbara. Do you want to leave them with a tear in their eye or a smile on their face? Huh? Well, let's see. You could do Sunny Side of the Street. So this is the only hit song written by a Los Angeles Athletic Club member. Is that Mighty Mouse?
I need a kick.
So this song is the only song written by a Los Angeles Athletic Club member, and that's what he's famous for. He also was in the movies. He was a comedian. He had a little mustache. There we go.
Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by if you smile through your tears and sorrow. Smile and maybe tomorrow's too high for the light. You'll see the sun come shining through for you. Light up your face with gladness. Hide every trace of sadness. Although a tear may be ever so near, that's the time you must keep on trying. Smile, what's the use in crying? You'll see that life is still worthwhile if you just make someone happy. Make just one someone happy. Make just someone the one you cling to. One smile that cheers you. One face that lights when it's near you. One man you're everything to. Fame, if you win it, comes and goes in a minute. Where is the real stuff in life you cling to? Love is the answer. Someone to love is the answer. Once you find him, build your world around him. Make someone happy. Make just one someone happy. And maybe you will be happy if you just smile. Make someone happy, you guys. Go on. Good night, everyone. Smile. Make someone happy. Smile. Yeah. Cheese. Good night, everyone. We love you. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Dave's going to give me the whole kitty tonight.
Barbra Morrison, Queen Bee, Barbra Morrison. So lucky to have her here with us.
To the Morrows!
To the Morrows, they're
To Vicky
49.
on her birthday. Happy birthday to Vicky. Happy birthday to Vicky.
We had Carrie Peck up reading poetry. The great Nolan Shahid on the trumpet. Mr. Mark Massey tickling the ivories. Judd Pillett on the brushes. What a band. I'm Dave Ross, thanking everybody for being here, sharing the night with us. We're here every single Thursday night. Just trying to think, next Thursday, we have a mystery singer. She's flying in from the Midwest, and she is outrageously good. So if you want a discovery, somebody that you can tell all your friends about, they've never heard, next Thursday's the night to come. Come back and join the Thursday Night Jazz Salon and have fun. That's what we're here for, folks. If you have any money left in your wallet, remember the tip jar. You'll feel guilty if you don't contribute. $100 is fine, but don't feel like you have to do 100. 50 is almost as good as long as you have two of them in there. And that's the tip jar. It's an analog tip jar. It's got a hole in the top of it, and you just take your wallet or your purse, shake it violently over the tip jar. Never look. Just let the money come out on its own. Let it make its own decision for once. And you'll make the band happy, make Barbara happy, and send us all home with a smile. So on behalf of Nolan Shahid and Mark Massey and Judd Pillett and Carrie Peck and the whole gang and the wonderful Queen Bee Barbra Morrison, thanks everybody so much for coming. Come back soon.